Right. Today we have to discuss about the paper that we have given. So let's see the marks too. And I received marks. Let me show this to you first. And this is what you have obtained for English medium. So I challenge that. So if anybody can obtain 100 marks, so definitely I'll be giving a surprising gift. But closer enough, Shavin has obtained 95, but not 100, right? So let's see. The others are also closer. So there are some students below, like there are some students obtain less marks, but doesn't matter. So let's see. So why they have obtained that marks? Let's discuss this and see is there any difficulty or any difficult areas, right? Then others.
Teacher,
Yes, Pute.
my marks are not here.
Oh, so if you have done the examination, please contact Miss. Have you sent on time without any delays?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so you have submitted via module or manual paper submission?
Manual paper submission.
You send it to the group or me?
To sir.
You have to send it to the group. So follow the instructions. So if you have sent to me, then I said don't send to me. I send it to the group because then only the others can access. That's the thing. Okay. Follow the instructions.
Okay, sir.
So send it to the group, or at least now send it to Ms. Lakmali and she will get it reviewed. But the thing is, you have to follow the instruction at the given time, right? So that is, anyway, choose the correct answer. Data and instructions temporarily stored in, it's not transistor, it's not central processing unit, it's not motherboard, it's memory register. You know, registers are temporary memory locations. So registers are faster and temporary memory locations inside the processor, right? We actually, in the computer, there are two kinds of memories. So one is primary, and we can say that is a volatile memory. That means the memory depends on power. The registers are here. And cache memory is here. And not only that, dynamic random access memory is also here. And there are non-volatile memories. Non-volatile memories is kind of permanent. It's not depend on the voltage. So the non-volatile memories. So examples, you can say hard disk, pen drive, CD, DVD. These are non-volatile. That means without depending on the power, it stores the regardless of the power. Without considering that, it stores data. So it's called non-volatile memory, right? Volatile memories are temporary. So temporary storages, registers, cache memory, DRAM, these are temporary storage. So answer is memory register, which belongs to the magnetic or optical storage category. Which belongs to the magnetic or optical storage category. SSD is not magnetic, not optical. It is solid state. Pen drive, not magnetic, not optical. Memory card, it's not magnetic, it's not optical too. General hard disk is magnetic, right? So the answer is this. General hard disk. SSD hard disk is not magnetic or optical. That is a solid state memory. But general hard disk is magnetic. Therefore, the answer is general hard disk here. Here, memory register. So what is this image, Pute? Yes, it shows
CPU.
Yes, it is straightforward, very easy question. Central processing unit. So CPU.
What is the answer for second one?
Hard disk.
Hard disk.
Central processing unit. And what is GPU? So this should
Graphic
be central.
processing unit.
Central, no, central. So it should be central. GPU means
Graphical
processor unit. Graphical processor unit is also somewhat equal to this, but there are some differences. So let me show GPU. GPU is also a processor. So you can see. So this is how GPU comes. GPU comes along with a separate card and with a set of fans because it generates heat. But GPU also looks like CPU, right? Here it also looks like CPU. But the thing is, sorry.
The gaming GPUs.
Sorry.
Like the GeForce RTX video.
Your statement is not clear. Can you repeat?
Like the gaming CPUs.
Yeah, gaming
like the
CPUs.
GPU.
Gaming CPU neve. Gaming GPU.
GPU.
So it's GPU. GPU is a
Yeah,
different graphical processing unit.
Yeah,
Right?
then
That is also a kind of CPU, but that is not central processing. That is a processing unit. It also looks like this, but mainly you can see GPUs are like this. These are graphic cards. Actually.
like the GeForce.
Yeah, graphic cards. These are basically called graphic cards, right? Okay. So that is GPU. That is also a processor, but here it shows a central processing unit, right? And the random access memory, mouse, these are not. RAM image if you want. So this is dynamic random access memory. DRAM memory is this dynamic random access memory. This is the RAM card. But our cache memory cache memory is inside the processor, right? Cache memory chip processor එතකොට process එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන process එකට attach වෙලා තියෙන එක මෙහෙම chip එකක් එහෙනම් එහෙම හොයන්න බෑ ඒක මෙහෙම පේන්නේ නෑ මේ විදියට ඊළඟට registers කියන ඒවා කොහොමවත්ම පේන්නේ registers are too small registers in CPU that is too small and it is inside the processor you won't be able to see that because that is inside the processor inside this processor central processing so you will not be able to see that it's not out visible to the outside right
So what is X series?
So that is a brand like so in Intel iX series, different series are there. i7, i5, likewise X series is also.
I know the i9 things, but I don't know the X series.
Yeah, these are different brands, right? Okay, no, not an example for presentation software.
Google Docs.
Google Docs.
PowerPoint is a presentation software for sure. Apple Keynote is that is also a presentation Keynote. That is also PowerPoint like thing. OpenOffice Impress, it is a free version. So it's a free presentation software. OpenOffice Impress is a free presentation software here. Similar to PowerPoint, but Google Docs is just like Word, right? It's not a presentation. Icon belongs to this icon belongs to iWork pages. Yes, exactly.
OpenOffice Impress.
No, it's not OpenOffice Impress. It is iWork pages, right? OpenOffice Impress icon is like PowerPoint icon here. This is the Impress icon. iWork pages is basically here. I have pages, but this pages is a recent version. This is the old version. So you can see the icon iWork pages here. Small pen is anyway there. This is iWork pages, right? In Apple. So what is the brain of the computer? What is similar to brain of the computer?
CPU.
The CPU.
Yes, it is central processing unit. That is similar to the brain of the computer, right? It is CPU. Okay, what is the measurement unit used to measure the CPU speed? How CPU speed is measured? What is the measurement unit used to measure the CPU speed?
Picosecond.
Sorry?
Picosecond.
Picoseconds.
Yeah, it can be picoseconds and it can even be nanoseconds, right? So it can be picoseconds and it can even be nanoseconds. Why? Because okay, so 1 millisecond is equal to 1 millisecond is equal to 1 divided by 1000 seconds, right? So it is a 1000 fractions. 1 divided by 1000 seconds is 1 millisecond. 1 microsecond is equal to 1 divided by, if you want, you can write down 1 divided by million seconds. See, 1 microsecond is 1 divided by million. 1 nanosecond is 1 divided by billion. And 1 picosecond is 1 divided by trillion. Okay, this is how it is measured. So see, so if 1 millisecond is, right, millisecond is 1000th, 1,000th of a second. Okay.
Okay.
So these are milli is 1 divided by 1000. Micro is 1 divided by 1 million. Nano is 1 divided by 1 billion. And pico is 1 divided by 1 trillion. Then you have femto, alto also. But that is not here measured here. But so let's see. Then actually the speed is measured using hertz. So if 1 hertz, we call 1 cycle per second. 1 hertz means 1 cycle per second. තප්පරයකට වාර එකක් වෙනවයි කියන එක තමයි 1 hertz කියන්නේ. hertz වලින් නෙවෙයි සාමාන්‍ය ස්පීඩ් එක මනින්නේ kilo hertz වලින්. එතකොට kilo hertz ගත්තම 1 kilo hertz means 1000 cycles per second. 1 kilo hertz කියන්නේ 1000 cycles per second. තප්පරයකට cycle 1000ක්. එතකොට ඒවා අපිට milliseconds වලින් මනින්න පුළුවන්. මොකද තප්පරයකට cycle 1000ක් වෙනවා නම් එතකොට තප්පරෙන් 1000න් පංගුනේ millisecond. So 1 divided by 1000 seconds නේ. එතකොට ඒවා අපිට මනින්න පුළුවන්. Here these things can be kilohertz speed processors can be measured using milliseconds. So millisecond is not enough. මොකද තප්පරයකට මේවා 1000ක් වෙනවා. එතකොට 1000න් එකක් කියන මේකක් මනින්න අඩු ගානේ 1000න් එකක් අත්ව. So you can use milliseconds. එතකොට kilohertz ඊළඟට මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? 1 yes kilohertz වලට පස්සේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? megahertz. Megahertz කියලා කියන්නේ million cycles per second. ඒකට තප්පරයකට cycle මිලියනයක් විතර යනවා. තප්පරයකට එකම ක්‍රියාව එක ක්‍රියා දැන් අපි හිතමු cycle එකක් කියන්නේ. So cycle is a time taken to complete some activity. මොකක් හරි cycle එකක් කියන්නේ අපි හිතමු බයිසිකලේ රෝදේ රවුමක් කරගෙන යන වෙලාව. Just an example. To rotate one round, what is the time taken? Whether megahertz means per second there will be million cycles. Not that cycle rounds. They will not be processing with process එකට ගිහිල්ලා process එකෙන් process වෙලා උත්තරේ එන්න යන එක cycle එකක් කියලා අපි හිතුවොත්. To move to the process, to process the element, get the answer. If it takes one cycle, then million such cycles will happen per second. Megahertz process එක. එතන ඒව මනින්න පුළුවන් microseconds. But that is also not enough because processor speed is not measured in megahertz. So then gigahertz. After that, gigahertz. So that is the measurement for processor speed. Actually, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 billion cycles per second. 1 billion cycles per second. That can be measured in nanoseconds. I want nanoseconds gane manini. හරි ඒ කියන්නේ එක cycle එකක් nanosecond එකක් විතර 1 gigahertz එකක. One cycle is similar to 1 nanosecond in this 1 gigahertz processor. But nowadays processors are still even more powerful than this 1 gigahertz processors. Now we have 3 gigahertz, 4 gigahertz, 3.8 gigahertz. Likewise, the gigahertz level, some are in the terahertz level.
Sadly, I have 1.20 gigahertz.
Sorry?
Sadly, I have 1.20 gigahertz.
1.8?
20 gigahertz.
1.8 gigahertz. That is not sad. That is very good figure. So that means how many billions?
It's like taking the CPU so high.
Yeah. So that is a very powerful CPU. 1.8 gigahertz. Means I even had 166 megahertz CPU when I was schooling. I had 166 megahertz CPU. So now you have gigahertz level CPU. You are lucky to have them. And actually, I thought that me 1 gigahertz unot ne 1 nanosecond. Habai ඊටත් වැඩිය වැඩි නේ. Therefore, you need to measure this in picoseconds. Actually, I have given answers for both. So even actually the correct one is pico, but for nano also I consider because both can be used to measure the current speed of better pico, better if pico, but nano is also okay. Okay, if you need something to be written here, please write, please do it. So if you need something, please take down because that is necessary. So how the hertz, kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz, and so when the speed is in gigahertz, so the measurement should be taken in the picoseconds or nanoseconds. So, okay, let's move to the next quickly. Any questions, you can send it to the chat, right? Okay, this will has sent his one is 3 gigahertz. Yes. Any question, you can send it to the group. Okay. Let me erase this. Question number 8. Which of the following evolved with the evolution of the computer? So which evolves? The speed, which did it like, is it evolved? Speed of CPU? Yes, is it evolved with the,
Yes.
yes, it evolved.
Yes.
Technology?
Yes.
Yes.
For sure, technology evolved. Maintenance technologies also, therefore, all of the above is the correct answer. So then about the question number 9 is about operating.
Is the ABC are wrong?
No, ABC all 3 are
All
correct.
of
Therefore, all of the above is the answer.
So ABC will take
You have to use the most appropriate answer. Since all are there, then how can you mark only one? That is a partial answer. Okay. So operating system, question number 9. Take CLI interface and turn into GUI, which will make it easy for the use. Acts as a middleman between you and your computer, controls the computer and controls the monitor. So what OS does? Yes, what OS does? What it does? Which is the correct answer for question number 9?
B.
B. Yes, it is acting as the middleman, operating system functionality, 2 functionalities of OS. So please remember. So functionality number 1, OS act as the middleman or intermediary between the user and the computer. Because when we ask the computer to print, actually printer does that, but we are not asking the printer to do that. We are asking the operating system. File print. You tell, okay, control P, file print, please print this. Operating system. OS will communicate that with the printer and get it printed. Actually, OS, that is why OS is a middleman, intermediary. It's acting between us. And the second thing is, OS work as resource manager. It manages all the resources, files, hardware, networking, users, processors, memory. All these things are managed by the operating system. OS is a resource manager. OS is a resource manager. So those are the 2 functionalities. Actually, here the answer number 2 is correct. Why answer number 1 is wrong? Because it is not just providing CLI interface. It is not just providing CLI interface or the command line interface. So it's providing GUI also, GUI, CLI both, right? It's not converting CLI to GUI. Instead of that, it provide both interfaces. Yeah, convert karne එකක් නෙවෙයි කරන්නේ. Interface දෙකම provide කරනවා. First term වලට පාඩම් කීයක්? So we have discussed about 3 lessons in the first term, then the next lessons come to the second term.
So I check my answer sheet. So there are problem and I correct down it. I share that to the group so now.
All right, okay. So can you indicate that message to the group? Because so please mention it to Ms. Lakmali and Ms. Paramita, actually the other one looking at these things, administration issues. So when you are resubmitting them, that please notify them as well. Right? Otherwise, they won't be notified, because unless if I say that, they won't get it noticed. That's the reason. So even I think Dulnita, you have to mention the same. Say that I have sent it to you, have sent it to me, and you are resubmitting that to the group. Vidun, you also please tell it in the group, then they will consider that, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay, here the second answer is the correct answer for question number 9. I'm moving to the question number 10 now. So if there is anyone who couldn't attend the examination and who are new to the class, due to some reason, or maybe who couldn't attend the examinations at all, please let me know if you cannot understand. Don't be upset, because don't worry, after finishing these things, we will be starting a new batch, right? I will make sure that you join in the new batch and cover the stuff, because we are anyway going before the school syllabus, right? So we we are normally starting on October, and we will be finishing on September, October time. That is the usual year for us. Why we are doing little early? Because we can finish the examinations, then we have less burden, because before the school we have finished the things. That is one thing. And anyway, that is an advantage, because school is anyway 3 months later, going 3 months later than the usual schedule. Actually, we are going 2 months earlier than the school schedule, means there will be 5 months gap. So those students who are late to the class, පහුවෙලා join වුණා ඉන්න පුළුවන් class එකේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට chance එකක් එන්න ඕන හින්දා ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දෙන් හරි cover කරගන්න එන්න එපා. නැත්තම් මට ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් දැන් මම ඔය අවුරුදු 4කට කලින් අපි online පටන් ගන්නෙදිත් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තිබ්බේ. Students ලා දැන් online class දැනගන්නේ මගට ගිහිල්ලා YouTube video එහෙම දැක්කම තමයි දැනගන්නේ. They get to know about the online classes in the middle. එතකොට ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ එහෙම දැනගෙන join වෙද්දි පාඩම් 3ක් 4ක් ගිහින්. එතකොට යාලා ආයේ කියනවා මට අපිට මුල් පාඩම් ටික ඕන. එහෙම කියලා කියනවනේ. Therefore එහෙනම් තමයි අපි චුට්ටක් කලින් පටන් ගෙන කරගෙන යන්නේ. එතකොට මැද්දේදී දැනගත්තට කමන්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ ආවම ඒගොල්ලන්ව මට join කරන්න පුළුවන් junior batch එකත් එක්ක. That means we can so if you are in grade 7 now, දැන් 7 ඉන්නවා නම් ඕගොල්ලෝ ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ 8ට යනවනේ. ඕගොල්ලන්ව මම කලින් 8ට අරන් යනවා. right? ඒ කියන්නේ 8 එක අපි පටන් ගන්නවා ඔක්තෝබර් නොවැම්බර් වෙද්දී. එතකොට පහුවෙලා ආපු කට්ටියට 7ත් cover කරගෙනම 8 එකත් cover කරගන්න පුළුවන්. And we are giving that opportunity for free, right? We are not charged 2 times. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගෙන් දෙපාරක් අපි charge කරන්නේ නැහැ 7ට වෙනමයි 8ට වෙනමයි. ඒතර ඔයාලා 8 එකට එනකොට 7 එක free ඔයාලට හම්බ වෙනවා. So එහෙනම් ඒක කාට හරි පැහැදිලි නැත්නම් if anybody is not clear about the process, please ask. Don't worry. ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතන්න එපා දැන් මේකේ සෑහෙන දුර ගිහිල්ලානේ කියලා. ගිහිල්ලා ඒක ඔයාලට හොඳයි. Because you can start from the first lesson itself very soon. Within few months, maximum within 2 months, you can start the first lesson. එතකොට පහුවෙලා ආපු අයට. අනිත් අයට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Others are way forward. Others can start the grade 8 syllabus immediately, and they can prepare for grade 8. ඉතින් ඒ time එක සමහර break අරගෙන පස්සෙත් එනවා. හැබැයි එහෙම කරන්න එපා. So this time actually only 1 hour session. So don't take breaks in ICT class, because you have like 4 hours, 5 hours, 3 hours, 4 hour classes for mathematics, other things. Even I'm doing science class only for 1 hour. මම කරන්නේ online ගොඩක්. හේතුව තමයි online ගොඩක් කරනකොට එපා වෙනවා. ඒක ඕගොල්ලෝ ඇස්ට්‍රික් දෙනවනේ මේක දිහා බලන්න. So it is not good for you as well, right? Your health, we have to consider that also. We cannot do a physical class, we can do 3 hours, 4 hours, but online class doing 4 hours, 3 hours, it's a mess. I don't want that to happen. Then definitely you will become sick staying in front of the computer. And then hamma vilema computer ke sa inna hitu pay 3-4 එක දිගට definitely you are going to end up with a hospital bed. So don't do that. So even if you are having such long classes, my advice is at least take hourly break. Take 40-minute break if possible. If not, hourly break. Hourly break එක කියන්නේ අඩු ගානේ දෙවනි පැය හිටගෙන ඉන්න computer එක ඉස්සරහ. පළවෙනි පැය ඉඳගෙන ඉන්න. Right? Don't stay long hours in front of the computer, because still you are too young to work with the computer such long time. Right? So 1 hour is enough, because we can summarize the lesson within 1 hour. අනිත් එක මේක ඔයාලට බලන්නත් පුළුවන්. 10 පාරක් 100 පාරක් හරි lesson එක බලන්න පුළුවන්. Video lesson. ඒක නිකන් ඉන්න වෙලාවට බලන්න. So then that's easy to understand. So you can watch it again and again. Okay, what is Linux? Question number 20. What is Linux? Yes, what is Linux?
An operating system.
No. Exactly, it is not an operating system, but I know in
An operating system maker.
yeah, it is operating system kernel actually. It's not operating system maker, we can call. It is an operating system kernel. That is the most appropriate answer. හැබැයි මෙහෙමයි. දැන් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ස්කූල් එකේ සමහර වෙලාවට කියන්න පුළුවන් operating system කියලා. එක කමන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මේ උත්තර දෙකම තියෙද්දි. If you have both the answers, operating system kernel, always go for operating system kernel answer, right? I advise you. If you have both answers in the same question, answers dekama tibbot A, B, අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම A select කරන්න. But answer A එක නැත්නම්, if answer is not there, you can select answer B, right? Actually, kernel is like an engine. Kernel එකක් කියන්නේ engine එකක් වගේ. දැන් car එකක engine එකක් තිබ්බොත් engine එක drive කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? Can you drive an engine only in a car?
No.
You need some other components. What are the other components? You need chassis, wheels, steering wheel, gearbox, silencer, petrol tank. Yes, you need all these components, right? Then only you can make a car. So Linux is something like that. Linux is just the engine. Linux is just the engine. It has engine part only. So engine you can't drive. Similarly, engine you can't drive. Similarly, if you try to install Linux, it is not an operating system. But if you install Ubuntu Linux, Fedora Linux, Red Hat Linux, Nofix Linux, Kali Linux, Antana Linux, SUSE Linux, Debian Linux, Mint Linux, Puppy Linux, Damn Small Linux, you name it, right? There are a lot of Linux versions. Linux versions, you know, see, right? Then you can run the, it is like a engine, Nissan engine, Nissan Leaf, Nissan Makari, Nissan Learn, likewise. Then Toyota, Toyota Yaris, Toyota Camry, Toyota Allion, different vehicles. All are Toyota. So it's like a Linux like that. Linux is like the Linux Valintama, Arakali, Nofix, Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Enubuntu, Exubuntu, Ubuntu, all are Linux versions. Chrome OS is based on Chromium, and Chromium is also based on Linux. Chrome OS is based on Chromium, but
Chromium is like an file, like not an like.
No, not based on the. Sorry, my mistake. Chromium is actually Chromium. Sorry, wait. I'm also confused.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah, Chromium is also Chromium is also. It's a web browser, right? Sorry, it's my mistake. Chrome OS is based on the Linux kernel. Chromium is a web browser. Chromium is actually, this is what I confused with. Google Chrome is based on the Chromium web browser, right? Google Chrome had Chromium.
So why did the Chromium begin?
Sorry?
Why did Chromium begin?
That is a free and open source project, Chromium. The one free and Linux family free and open source. Chrome OS is based on actually here the Chrome OS. It's written in C. Original author is, I think, but it is a Linux based. It's based on the Linux base. Yeah, that is what I think.
Like Chrome OS book, like a Chrome book.
Yeah, it's coming for the Chromebook. It is operating system coming for Chrome. Anyway, so operating system, Linux is operating system kernel. It's like engine. Me engine ekata kali tika dala OS එක හදාගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අපිටත් Linux හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. අපිටත් පුළුවන් මේ Linux engine එක දාලා අපේ OS එකක් Dasun Linux කියලා ඕනනම් හදාගන්න. ඔයාලට පුළුවන් ඕනනම් Abino Linux කියලා එකක් හදාගන්න. It's possible, right? Because the engine is free. Engine is given for free. So you can build your own Linux operating system based on that engine. Engine is given for free. Other parts are දාගන්න. Chassis, මේවා ජනේල, ඉබරවල් ඒවා දාගෙන දාගන්න. Okay, extension of a file. So what is file extension? File extension basically it indicates the file type and the related program. And even for searching, you need it. That means all of the above are the answers. File extension is the name given to the file. Actually, the suffix given to the file. Let's say my file is the file name and the suffix is docx. This suffix is called, this part is called the extension. Actually, this extension can be used to identify the file. Extension can be used to search the file. Extension can be used to identify the file type. And it will define, it will also introduce the program to be used to open this file. So this will be opened using MS Word because the docx extension belongs to MS Word. So all these things are with the file name extension. Typically, in the normal circumstances, this is hidden. Samanya avasthawala meka hide vela tiyena. Habayi apita eka bala ganna puluwan. Can anybody share? Then I can show it to the others also. Can anybody share the screen? Okay, Rona. So just go to your Explorer or any folder and create a new file there. Please create a new file there by going to any folder. Just create a new file. Yeah, inside that, just create a new text document. You can right click inside that and then new text document, and you can see the extension is here. What is the extension? Others can see this.
.txt.
.txt is the extension. Actually, you can go to the view menu and hide that. View, and you can say show. Then the file name extension part, you can just. Okay, now only the text name is, so different operating system has different view facility. Venas 10 wala tiyenne kelimma hariyak dala tama extension ekata ganna tiyenne ayin karanna tiyenne hariya ayin kalla. Etakota Windows 7 වල මෙතන organize කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ organize එකට ගිහිලා තමයි extension එක බලා ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. So different operating system will have different ways of viewing the file name extensions. දැන් මේකේ තියෙන show එකට ගිහිලා file name extensions දානවා. Then it is visible. ඕනම operating system එක control panel එකෙන් පුළුවන් මේක. So if you go to the control panel, can you go to the control panel? In any Windows operating system, not on a Windows operating system, just access the control panel. In control panel, there is a place. Go to the normal view. This large icon, hari small icon, hari view category view. Just go to large icon views or small icon view. So there, can you see the file and folder options, file explorer options? Or file and search options. There you have view tab. A view tab extension part. View tab show hide extension for non-file types. Hide hide. So when you put the tick, it will hide. When you remove the tick, it will show. This is general for any operating system. Make Windows based on OS maybe direct. I hope this is clear to you now. Okay, let's move back to the paper. We are now here. 12. So what is the typical type of keyboard? QWERTY. That is pronounced as QWERTY. Again, keyboard එක අකුරු තියෙන පිළිවෙල ඔයා අහන්නේ. ඔයාලගේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඇත්තේ QWERTY. දැන් මගේ නම් තියෙන්නේ QWERTY. 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 That is the typical format of the keyboard. But in some keyboards, this can be varied. දැන් වෙන රටවල වල සමහර keyboards තියෙනවා මේක ABCD විදියට පිළිවෙලට තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Some these are vary, but for the normal keyboard, QWERTY is the pattern. So what is considered as the oldest operating system? From the answers, select the most appropriate. Yes. What can be considered as the oldest one among these?
MS-DOS.
MS-DOS.
MS-DOS. Yes, from these operating systems, it is MS-DOS. මේ තියෙනේවෙන් MS-DOS, right? වෙන ඒවා තිබ්බනම් වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ තියෙනේවෙන් ගන්න එක. තියෙනේවෙන් MS-DOS. CPU is located
Inside the system is on the motherboard.
Yeah,
So,
more
in
appropriate.
the motherboard.
Yes, on the motherboard is more appropriate, but inside the system unit is not wrong. වැරදි නැහැ. හැබැයි on the motherboard තමයි වැඩියම හරිනේ. So on the motherboard is most appropriate. Yes. So what is the latest technology used for CPU?
Microprocessors.
Yes, it is microprocessors. So the microprocessors. That is the latest technology for CPU. Okay. Speed measurement of CPU.
Gigahertz.
Yeah, typically the speed is measured in CPU using gigahertz, typically, right? Hertz is also correct. Hertz is the fundamental unit, but the thing is you have to consider about the practical unit which is used, it is gigahertz. When deleting a file or directory, when deleting a file directory, what will happen? Read the answers and tell me. When deleting a file directory, what will happen?
Both the file and the directory are removed.
Here, the directory is removed, files are inside, no, because you are deleting the directory, no. So it will remove both file and the directory. So then the next is files have been removed, the directory remains, no. Cannot be because you are removing the directory. Both file and the directory will be removed. Yes, exactly. Both file and the directory will be removed because you are removing the directory. So it will remove both file and the directory. It doesn't matter. Then
What is the answer?
yeah, C is the answer. Okay, what is word processing? What is word processing?
Fast document production.
Word processing. Read it carefully one more time.
Word formation.
No.
Compile any kind
of document with words.
That is the answer. Yes, that's why. Read it carefully, right? Word formation is not word processing. Word formation means forming words. So is it word processing? It's not. It's not word processing. Then separation of specific words, definitely not. It's not about, it's part of word processing, but it is not the word processing. Then fast document production. No. So we don't know what kind of document, right? It can be even video document, movie document. How we know? Photoshop document. It's not word document. So compile any document with words. Yes, that is simple. Simple, straightforward. Question number 90. Which of the following is not an example for control structures used in the system development? Which of the following is not an example? Control structures. What are the control structures in programming? So can you remember the control structure? Yes, what are the three control structures used in programming? We have discussed this several times. Yes, can you tell me the control structures used in programming?
Sequence, selection, repetition.
Correct, exactly. Very good. Sequence, selection, repetition. What is not there then?
Mathematical operation.
Yes, that's also easy one. The characteristics of a file and a directory are, the characteristics of a file and directory are, so size is there in both, change date is, oh yes, date modified is there. Designer registration, is it somewhere? No, there's nothing called designer registration. Type is there. So they're asking characteristics of a file and directory. Everything except the designer's registration, right? Everything except the designer's registration. Okay, now let's go to the part number 2. Part number 1 is done. Let's go to the part number 2. So in there you have to write 2 types of operating systems. Yes, what are the 2 types? CLI GUI. Yes, correct. You can write CLI GUI. CLI GUI can be given. Some people, some students say it like Windows and Linux. Yes, I can. So considering your age, can be given for that as well. Windows and Linux. So these are actually 2 brands can give marks for that test. Some people can say open source.
So
And
Windows 10 and macOS.
that is not. They're asking types, no? They're not asking operating system. They're asking types. You can say Windows and Mac then. So Windows is one type, Mac is another type, maybe. But that is not very good answer. Open source and closed source. So එහෙම ලිව්වත් හම්බ වෙනවා. CLI command line interface, graphical user interface කිව්වත් හරි. එක commands විදියට අනිත් එකේ graphics විදියට. ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. CLI and GUI. එතකොට ආයෙ කියන්න පුළුවන් another type is තව එකක් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් Windows Linux කමන්නේ. Open source closed source එකක code එක අපිට දෙනවා අනිත් එකේ code එක දෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙමත් කමන්නේ. තව කියන්න පුළුවන් free and paid කියලා. එහෙමත් කමන්නේ. That is also acceptable. Another way of telling that is CLI, GUI, Windows Linux, open source, closed source, free, paid. Some people can say client operating systems. Client කියන්නේ මේ අපි පාවිච්චි කරන ඒවා සේවා දායකයෝ සේවය දෙන කට්ටිය. server කිව්වොත් ඒවත් ඒකත් හරි. client and server කිව්වොත් ඒකත් ටිකක් වැඩිපුර හිතලා එහෙම කිව්වොත් එහෙමත් හරි. සමහර කට්ටිය කියන්න පුළුවන් PC and mobile කියලා. That is also okay. PC වලට එන OS උයි mobile වලට එන OS උයි. All these are correct answers. This question is not a very good question. So it is open question. So you can write these answers. One of these answers can be taken as correct answers. Okay, that's it. So shall we move to the next? Type 4 types of key categories on the keyboard. 4 types of key categories. Yes. You have navigation keys. Arrow keys, navigation keys.
Typewriter keys.
Oh, yes, you can say alpha numeric.
Character keys.
Keys. Alphanumeric keys කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ alphabetic, ඒ කියන්නේ letters and numbers.
Control keys.
Yes, control keys. Exactly. Are special functions වලට තියෙනවා function keys.
Function keys.
Character keys.
Character keys වලට alphanumeric කියන්න පුළුවන්. Alphanumeric character keys both are correct.
Numeric keys.
And we say arrow keys. Arrow keys.
Arrow keys are coming under navigation keys. Arrow keys with navigation keys with.
So number
Numerical
pad.
keys.
Yeah, numlock pad is another set. You can say numlock. Numpad. That is another separate set of keys. Yes, anything else? Navigation keys, alphanumeric keys, control keys, function keys, numpad.
Caps lock.
Caps lock, all these are coming under alphanumeric. Caps lock coming under alphanumeric. If anything else, let me know, then I can add it. Okay, let's move to the next question, right? Write down the technology used by the first generation. Easy. What is the technology used by the first generation computers?
Vacuum.
Vacuum tube.
Tubes. Vacuum tubes. That is the technology used by the first generation. Easy question. Vacuum tube is the technology used by the first generation. List 5 output devices. I would write down the type of output it produces. That is also easy. So let's say speaker is output device.
Mouse.
So provide.
Mouse.
Mouse is output කිව්වත් නියමයි පුතේ ඈ. ඇත්තටම හිතලාද ඔය උත්තරේ දුන්නේ? Mouse is it output device?
It's input.
What is the answer for third one?
Speaker is wait. Speaker is producing sounds. Mouse input the output. The mouse is basically input device, right? It is mouse එකෙන් අපි දෙයක් input නේ දෙන්නේ අපි computer එකට දෙයක් නේ දෙන්නේ. මේක කොහොමද output උනේ පුතේ? output කියන්නේ computer එකෙන් එළියට ගන්නවා. mouse එකෙන් අපිට මොන හරි එළියට ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? Can you take something out from the mouse? Okay, question number 3, the answer is technology used by the first generation computers is vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes.
Sir,
Yes?
sir, why do we use vacuum tubes for?
Vacuum tubes for?
So why do we use vacuum tubes?
So that was the first generation technology. Then switch behavior එකනේ හදන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කාලේ තිබ්බ switch හදන විදිහ තමයි at that age how actually how switches were built. The technology was vacuum tubes. Later switches were built using transistors. Later this lot of transistors merged and switches were built using ICs. Then very large scale and large scale integration circuits, and finally to the microprocessors, and now we have ULSI, ultra large scale integration. So that is how the technology evolved, right? From time to time different techniques. Like, so why we use bow and arrow in Stone Age? Can you give the answer for that question? So why we have used bow and arrow in the Stone Age? That was the technology at that time, right? For hunting purpose. So it's like why we use missiles these days. That is not for hunting purpose, that is for the war. Time to time the technology was and changed. Okay, so what are the other output devices? Can you list few more?
Monitor,
Monitor, yes, what it produce?
printer,
What it produced? Monitor, what it produced? You have to tell what it produced. So this, most of the students have not written this part. List 5 output devices and write down what it produces. Screen is producing soft copy screen images. Soft copy or screen images. Then projector. Projector. Enlarged soft copies or projection. So you can say 3D printer is producing 3D objects based on the printing industry. Like if it is a pizza printer, it will produce pizza. If it is a building printer, it will print a building. If it is a toy printer, it will print a toy. If it is a clothing printer, it will print a cloth. It depends. Anyway, 3D objects. Then robot arms or actuators, actions. Then you have plotter.
HDMI cable.
That is not an output device. That is a cable.
so headset,
A headset is similar to the speaker, right? Plotter is for large scale maps and drawings. These are some output devices and what it produces. Okay. Write 2 word processing software programs. There are more. You can say MS Word and Abby Word,
Google Docs,
Pages, Google Docs, Google Docs, or Write, OpenOffice Writer,
LibreOffice Writer.
LibreOffice Writer. So these are some tools. What is the first word processing software? It is WordStar. WordStar, right? The name of the first word processing software. First reported. There can be some unknown projects, but the first reported word processing software is WordStar. Okay, please write down these and let me know if you're done. I hope that is enough. Let's move to the next. Right. Use 6 examples for file name extensions. Also write the file types. So 6 examples for file name, file extension, and also write the file types. You need to write type as well. So what are the examples? You can say docx, dot, doc, and maybe dotm. Then document template. Then so what else? So these are .text, document template model. These all are Word document, MS Word. So likewise, you have to write, okay, let's write the Word application, the Office applications first that you already know. What are the Office? Then PowerPoint, PPT, PPTX, PPS, PPSX, POT, POTX. So these are PowerPoint. There are more. I'm just writing some. There are more. Then XLS, XLSX, XLT. These are Excel. JPG, JPE, JPEG, PNG, GIF, BMP. So these are images.
PDF.
Then MOV, MKV, AVI, MP4, WMV. These are videos. TXT, text. So these are some. So there are many, I know that. Okay. So a lot of extensions are there. Yes, correct. We have sent in the chat also. These are correct. So what are the control structures used in the system development? Yes, what are they? You have already said that.
Sequence,
Sequence,
selection,
Please tell. Sequence. The other two are
Selection, repetition.
selection and repetition. In sequence, instructions are executed one after another. That is called sequence. Selection, instruction, flow is based on a condition. That is selection, repetition, instruction, flow is executed again and again in repetition. So those are the three control structures that you can see in programming. Is there any more questions? This is going to be a long paper. 9, 10, we have more.
Excuse me.
Yes?
So for the 7th question, can we use PDF?
Yeah, you can add anything, any extension, any valid extension. So these are just samples. Any valid extension is acceptable there. Any valid extension is accepted there. Okay, Budde, I think with the time constraint, we can stop from here. Next day, I'll be discussing the remaining questions, right? Okay, then good night. See you all next week.
Have a nice day, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Good night,
Good
sir.
night.